Hey, have you watched all of the Mainland Tonight episodes yet?
No, there's still the season finale.
Of course. Oh, what do you think will happen? I'm hoping for a wedding.
OMG, I thought that too. Or at least a proposal.
Oh, that would be so wild. Are you thinking Banjo?
Banjo? Maybe. Nah.
Yeah. What about the sketch actors?
Now you're talking.
But which actors?
Oh, the two most attractive ones, of course.
Cool. Wait, do you mean me and...
Would you do me the honour?
Yes, oh, I'm so excited.
Best finale ever.
May Jasper, still and sparkling. And we'll start with the New South Wales state elections, which were held on the weekend. And once again, the news is not good. Yeah. The people in power are all politicians. I was hoping for something else, but no. As you're probably aware, Gladys Berejiklian has been elected New South Wales Premier. The result has been seen as victory for women, for Liberals and surname proofreaders. In the upcoming federal elections, Labor has said that it will put one nation last in its preferences. Interesting. Meanwhile, last on Clive Palmer's preferences, vegetables. A salmonella outbreak has prompted the recall of hundreds of thousands of eggs across Australia. Said Egg Boy, oh, I'll take them, me, pick me. But faced with the prospect of going to a Fraser Anning speech, many eggs are now deciding just to poison themselves. In other news, at 7'3", Australia's tallest man has claimed he is struggling to find a date. Isn't that sad? He said he searched high and high. The Morrison government will spend $1 million on a school program that teaches Aussie values. In response, the students said they'd prefer to learn New Zealand values. And finally, a new study has revealed that more than half of all Australian men suffer from some form of sexual dysfunction. Geez, I'd hate to be that guy, said all Australian men. Tonight on the show, Ghost Tour guide Jason Ralphs, comedy from Annie Louie, and we are live all around Australia and Fraser Island. If you'd like to be part of the studio audience, you're too late. Isn't that right, voiceover?
That's right, May. If you'd like to be in our live studio audience, please write to the Community Broadcasting Foundation demanding a second season. Don't take no for an answer. If they still refuse, threaten them. Alternatively, send $5 to me, David M. Green, and any interest accumulated on that $5 will be generously donated to the Season 2 budget. Over to you, audience applause.
Jenkins, a word. Management has spoken to Channel 7 and they just don't want you girls to go out there and pull another Harris.
A Harris?
The media's words, not mine. They've given us extensive retraining in order to propose a few more sophisticated moves. All right, see this little Jenkins on the field? This is you, see that kicking leg there? Not an appropriate move. All right, so a journo takes a snap of that. Online trolls make your life a living hell. It's a PR disaster. So let's just lower that leg, okay? Just a little kick, nice and dainty. Imaginations won't run wild.
Come on. Are you kidding? I'm not doing that.
Jenkins, I don't think you realise how seriously we have to take this. Hello, Jenkins. I don't understand boundaries. I saw you kick a goal on the field and I saw your bits. Let me follow you home.
Oh no, I don't feel safe in my workplace.
Do you think Wayne Carey or Chris Judd were ever asked to kick more daintily?
I understand that, Jenkins. If it were up to me, I'd simply tell these trolls to bugger off. But they won't, will they? To me, you're just a bit of plastic. If I had my way, I'd stick you back in the dream house kitchen. How dare you objectify my players that way?
Yeah, you tell him, coach.
Why, thank you, Tiny Jenkins. Now go give me 120 laps.
Well, bring it on. I'm willing to take the risk, coach. Screw those social media misogynist trolls.
Why don't you try saying that to my face, little Miss Split Kick? How dare you, plastic head? I'll have you around in a second, mate.
That's right, coach, you tell him. And now, yeah, take that and a little bit of this.
Coach, are you with me? Are we going to take on those keyboard warrior media trolls together?
Yeah, we'll grind them into the dirt.
Awesome. I'll see you out there then.
Yeah, and that, a little bit of this. Oh, right in the mummy-daddy button. That's right, Buster. And now time for the finishing move. Here, ah! I'm invincible!
Please keep that applause going for Banjo! Yeah. All right, now, Banjo, I've waited 6 episodes to ask you this question. Can you actually play the banjo? That's not a banjo. And now it's time for Mainland Tonight's Spotify lists. So, we've managed to gain access to the top 3 most listened to songs from various Spotify lists. And first up, we have Scott Morrison. Current PM. And at the top of his list, Dead Man Walking by John Bellion, Stormy Mayday by AC/DC, and Coal Miner's Boogie by George Davis. On your grandparents' list, we have Who Are You by The Who, Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds, and What's My Age Again by Blink-182. On an Australian pubs list, we have, it's a popular one, this one, The Horses by Daryl Braithwaite, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again by The Angels, and The Horses by Daryl Braithwaite. It's really almost too true. On the Logies list, we have Doesn't Matter by Christine and the Queens, White Noise by The Living End, and Talk Show Host by Radiohead. I'm just saying, Gold Logie, be pretty good. On anti-vaxxers list, we have Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, Sitting, Waiting, Wishing by Jack Johnson, and Wrong by Zayn Malik. Because of how they're wrong. On a janitor's having a bad days list, we have Woke Up Late by Drax Project, Faucet Failure by Ski Mask and the Slump God, and Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish. Wow, that day went south real quick. On Banjo's list, yeah, this one was hard to get hold of, we have The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, So Much to Say by Dave Matthews Band, and Creep by Radiohead. You just stay there, all right? Just stay there and don't come at me. On that weird guy on the buses list, we have I Touch Myself by Divinals, Spit on a Stranger by Pavement, and My Girlfriend is Inflatable by Weird Al Yankovic. And that was Mainland Tonight's Spotify lists.
You wanted to see me, Dr. Price?
Ben, do you remember the joke you told at your wife's last appointment?
I think so. It was, what's the stupidest animal in the jungle? The polar bear.
Ben, for a man weeks away from becoming a father, you're displaying a distressing lack of dad jokes. Your jokes are too clever. I want to do a test, though, just to be sure. Listen to the following statements and questions and just respond as naturally as you can.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
Do you have any snacks in your desk?
Hi, hungry. I'm insert name. Have you heard of the restaurant on the moon?
That sounds pretty unlikely.
Great food, no atmosphere. This is much worse than I thought. Have you heard of DJD?
I don't go to nightclubs anymore.
DJD, dad joke deficiency. 1 in 12 men suffer from it, and the consequences on a child's upbringing can be catastrophic.
Is there a cure?
Read this.
Hi, hilarious. I'm Dad.
See, you're getting the hang of it already.
And this will help me tell bad jokes?
Not bad jokes, dad jokes. Inside you'll find a number of jokes. I'm prescribing you 2 daily, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, to practice aloud in front of the mirror. Try one with me now.
What do you call cheese that isn't yours?
Nacho cheese.
That's awful.
Yes, they will seem that way at first, but give it time, let yourself adjust, and one day you'll believe they're the reason your wife married you. I have another appointment now, but any issues, please don't hesitate to call. If I'm with another patient, I'll call you back straight away.
Don't call me straight away. Call me Ben.
It has begun.
After the break, Jason Ralph from Lantern Tours is going to tell us what it's like being a ghost host. You're watching Mainland Tonight. tonight's guest is a ghost host from Lantern Tours, one of Australia's top ghost tour companies. Please welcome Jason Ralphs. Yeah. How you doing, Jason?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you doing?
Excellent. I love the term ghost host. Do you enjoy that as well, or do you wish it was just, something more professional sounding and fancy?
Well, ghost host is all right. I do prefer a tour guide, but
Yeah.
Ghost host is a little bit more fun.
Doesn't rhyme. I don't want to be a complainer, but it doesn't rhyme. All right, fine. So what drew you to become a ghost tour guide?
Well, I grew up in the UK. It probably gives it a little bit away. I come from a little village between Crewe and Sandbach in Cheshire, and it was a place that was full of folklore, lots of different ghost stories. And what you found with them is that they're usually tied to some pretty horrible people from the past or horrible things that would happen. They were more like warnings to people. Moved to Australia, lived in Perth for a little while, and then when I moved to Melbourne, I completely fell in love with the place. There's so many old buildings around the city, there's so much to get the imagination going, and definitely has quite a bleak history as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. So what when you do these tours, how much are you believing in them? Are you a skeptic or are you a true believer?
Well, I would say I'm around 50-50 or so.
Okay.
The main reason I say that is that I try and be skeptical. But I've had so many, I suppose, strange experiences on the tour, and I've heard so many stories from people on the tour as well, from the general public. Some of them have given me nightmares quite badly. So I believe when people tell me a strange story, most people are pretty credible. And I've seen things that are, well, if they're not true, or if there isn't actually a ghost in the building or something strange happening, will probably mean that I've gone quite mad.
Wow. Well, tell us about one of those. Tell me about a time when you thought you were going mad.
All right, well, this happened quite recently. So one of the places where Lantern does tours is Pentridge Prison. And Pentridge, it's a bit like the old Melbourne Jail. You have 3 tiers, and the exit is on the 2nd tier. Now, at the end of the tour, we let people walk around for around 15 minutes, then we blow a whistle, everyone has to leave, and our job is to sort of close all of the doors in the division that we're in. So the exit's up here, we blow the whistle, everyone starts to leave from the bottom floor, look to the bottom, and they've left a bunch of doors open. So I say, okay, I've got to go down, I've got to go and close all the doors. I'm the only person left in the division at the time. I walk to the end of the division on the 2nd floor, go down the steps, every single door's closed.
Yeah, I don't love that.
I wasn't annoyed, it was very helpful. It saved me around 30 seconds of the job.
But all the doors closing at once has a creepy feeling. I don't adore that. So you do tours in the prison?
Yeah, in the prison. We also do Williamstown as well, old homesteads like the one in Altona. And then, of course, there's the old city tour that we do as well.
Yeah, right. So what are the stories in the prison that turn into ghost stories?
Well, for example, the D Division where we do the tours, a lot of the stories that you hear from guards, usually it only closed in 1997, so the guards usually have a lot of strange stories that they like to tell when they come on the tour. Most of the time they haven't mentioned it to other people until they come on the tour. So I remember one particular story came from a guard. I believe he sent the story in, and it was all about how there was a lady in a watchtower, one of the guards at the time. She was looking out towards Coburg Lake, where the old Bluestone Quarry used to be. And as she looked out there, she saw 6 men crossing the bridge towards the prison. Now, when those men reached the end of the bridge, they completely disappeared, but apparently they all had shackles around their legs. They were all dressed in old prison uniforms.
Oh, no, I don't like it at all. I don't like it. And do you think there is, is there a purpose to these stories? Do you feel like people see things that are trying to communicate with them, or is it just random in your experience in hearing these stories?
Well, I suppose it depends on the type of story. When you hear a story from someone who honestly believes to themselves that they've had a very strange experience, then most of the time there isn't really a moral to it, other than they went back home and they saw something strange one day. Yeah. But when it comes to stories like the stories you have in Melbourne of people going down laneways, bumping into strange women in white whilst they're down there, those figures usually are tied to horrible things that happened in the past and terrible things that happened to people. So in a lot of ways, I'd say the purpose, in a folklore sort of way, is, I suppose, as a bit of a warning to remind us of how terrible things can get if we're not careful, and to remind us of how bleak things used to be.
Yeah. I like it. So tell me, and this is something I've actually been meaning to check up with someone, do you have any experience in exorcism? Because we actually do have a ghost that appears in this studio. He looks like a well-dressed man from like the 1930s. And we can talk to him, but he never manages to communicate back to us. It's really... Look, there he is. See, how can we get rid of him? No?
Well, what I'd recommend doing.
Yeah.
I was doing a tour one night. We actually do sleepovers sometimes.
Oh my God,
people
no.
spend money to stay in prisons these days.
No.
But I was up on the third floor there at Pentridge, and I felt a massive slap against my chest. So I just realised my microphone, so I probably gave someone a massive headache. But I felt extremely sick. I went back home. And I'd been up for 24 hours. I told my fiance what happened. There's a big twist. Somehow I have a fiance. Somehow I went to bed. I'd been up really late. She could hear people walking around the apartment. She could hear them talking. And my phone kept on going off, but when she got to it, it would switch itself off. There was no record anyone called. I went to work the next day. At the time, my day job was booking people into weddings. I just wanted to do something more miserable on the weekends. And, well, I don't know where she got all this from. She set up a shrine, burnt some incense, and splashed some holy water about. And I felt 100% better when I got back home. So it might have just been Monday-itis. But if you are having a problem with a ghost appearing, incense, holy water, you should be fine.
Wow, that's so useful. I'm going to do that straight away. In the meantime, please thank Jason Ralphs. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
And now, tonight's comedian was recently named inaugural recipient of the Victorian Government's Stand-Up Grant. She's performing in her solo show Before I Forget at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival from March 28th to April 21st. Please welcome Annie Louie.
Hello. Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. I've just come back from travelling overseas and I find that I'm very unlucky when I travel overseas. I got stopped at the airport in Amsterdam at customs and the officer said to me, he looked at my passport and he said, "What's that?" I got very concerned. I leant in and I had a look at what he was looking at and I said, "That is a koala." And he said, "It's very cute, have a nice day. Bye-bye." Yeah, so I've been, looking back, at all the gigs that I've done. This is my first time doing stand-up on TV. I'm very excited. Yeah, thank you. And I found that, with the way we watch TV now, it's so different, isn't it? Back in my childhood, I had a very strange situation. We, in our living room, had one TV with all the channels except Channel 9. And right next to it, we had another TV with no channels except Channel 9, instead of just one TV that worked. It was like living in the worst JB Hi-Fi in the world. My favourite TV show is Extreme Cheapskates. Has anyone watched that? Oh, it's so good, right? This is where people save money, but they take it to the extreme. My favourite ever episode, a woman saves money by spying on group fitness classes. Genius. Right? I'm going to give away all her secrets because this is what she does, right? She goes to the park, she rolls out her yoga mat, she pops out from behind a tree, she does the yoga, and then when the class is over, she rolls up her mat, legs it to the car and drives off. Genius. Until they go and they interview the yoga instructor and he says, these classes are free. Talked a little bit about technology. I felt like when I was growing up, I was the last person to get a computer out of all of my friends and perhaps in the entire world. And I was a smart kid. I was making my own computers out of old chocolate boxes. Yeah, I had a Lindt chocolate screen. I had a Ferrero Rocher keyboard. And I even had a mobile phone. It was an old toothpaste box with a straw sticking out the top of it because you don't want to miss out on that vital reception. And I got very addicted to this particular game called Habbo Hotel. I don't know if anyone's played it. If you haven't, you were probably one of the cool kids playing on Sims. But us losers, we were on Habbo Hotel. And it's a virtual reality game where you can be anyone you want, like absolutely anybody. I had friends who were DJs, princesses. Oh, man, you could be a photographer, anything, right? Me, I was a home hairdresser. And the thing is, you could also buy credits. That was the awesome thing. You needed $6 worth of credits to change your outfit or buy furniture for your house. And what I used to do is, this was back in the day when you could call up on your home phone and you could pay for things via your phone bill. So what I would do is I would wait until my parents left the house and they would pick up that home phone and rob my parents $6 at a time. Yeah. And then my dad would get bill shock. He'd look at the bill and go, "Oh my God, telecom has gotten very expensive." And he always called it telecom because he was stuck in the 80s. My parents are not the smartest people. I'll give you an example of something they did. They named me Annie and my sister Anna. No joke. Yep. They never got through page 1 of the baby naming book. I'm Chinese Australian as well, so it's very unusual, it's very unique, and I think I'm the only person who has ever seen my mum eat a meat pie with chopsticks. Yeah, so, yeah. Nearly time. I'm going to wrap it up very soon. Look, I'm going to end on a bit of another story for you. What else? Oh, yeah, so I've been traveling, I've done all of that, and I've also in a relationship at the moment. Anyone in a relationship? Yes? Oh, yeah. So I'm very in love with my boyfriend, and he likes to get drunk sometimes, and I think, oh, man, that's probably his worst flaw, right? I came home, and I found that he had made 4 coffees while he was drunk, and I was like, "Who are these coffees for?" And he says, "My family." And I said, "They don't live with us." What? And I think we all know what it's like to be blind drunk, but have you ever been barista drunk? Because that's next level. Thank you so much. My name's Annie Louie.
Annie Louie, everybody! Yeah, well done. See Annie at the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and we'll see you when we see you next. Thank you so much for watching season 1 of Mainland tonight. Good night.
Four.